well. As Dr. Kuchikian has mentioned to you, there is an evolution of civil society in Armenia. There are forces at work in this country. Even though there was a bloody suppression of demonstrations on the night of March 1st, March 2nd, there is some movement within society, as reflected now within the Parliament, to try and investigate what occurred on that night. On that night, 10 people were killed, hundreds were injured, over 70 of those arrested still remain in prison. In a country of 3 million, to translate that into the American context, that would be 1,000 killed, over 10,000 injured, 7,000 in prison. Naturally, had that occurred in our own country, it would be topic A, B, and C, topic of discussion, and the American people would want to know what happened on that night, who is responsible, tell us the facts so that our country can deal with them and move forward. There is a commission in the Armenian Parliament that is groping toward an answer to those very questions. The Parliament is a fairly new body, of course created in the aftermath of Armenian independence. I know parliaments. I've worked in them. I've worked in the Congress of the United States. I know what a powerful parliament looks like. That is not the Armenian Parliament. It is struggling to carry out its investigative tasks. The chairman of the commission, Chairman Nikoyan, understands the task before him and how difficult it is. He had conversations with the American Embassy and representatives from the Department of State, and they invited staff from the 9/11 Commission to come out and visit. All that Mike and I and our third colleague could do was to share our experiences. As I said, we don't know Armenia, but the three of us know two things very, very well. We know what it takes to produce a credible investigation. We know what it takes to produce a credible report. And so, in a week of meetings in Armenia, with the chairman, with the parliamentary commission, with representatives of the government, including the powerful prosecutor general, the police, security services, and on the other side, we met with opposition leaders, civil society representatives, and human rights defenders. We met at people deeply suspicious and distrustful of each other, and we had the same message for everyone. And that was as follows. First, if you're going to have a credible report on a national tragedy, it requires a detailed investigation by professional staff. You have to have access to all documents, all participants, all witnesses. You need professional analysis of electronic recordings, professional investigators with experience in forensics. Any credible report on a national tragedy, whether it's in the United States or in Armenia, must be driven by the facts. The second point we made to all interlocutors is that a credible report on a national tragedy requires the participation of a broad spectrum of a country's political leaders in the conduct of that investigation. The current parliamentary commission is hampered in this respect. The leading opposition, the supporters of former President Petrosyan, their representatives are not on the parliamentary commission. And our message to the government, to the commission, to the opposition was the same. No report will be seen as credible if it is written by the government or if it is written by the opposition. A report will only be credible if leaders of differing politics work together so that they are forced to look past their preconceptions and their clear political difference, and that they are forced to focus on the facts. Now, as I said, I've worked in the Congress, I've worked as staff in Congress, and I know how important staff is. The Armenian parliamentary panel really had no investigative staff. The members themselves took their responsibilities clearly very seriously, but they themselves were conducting the investigation and reviewing videotapes. They were asking questions in public session, and as I understand it, they did not have the opportunity to conduct interviews or depositions in the American legal context. They did not have the ability to do that beforehand. They did not have the ability to review documents before they questioned witnesses. In fact, access to documents and records is sparse. So the panel was lacking in staff participation. And as I mentioned, the panel is also lacking in the fact that leading opposition figures have boycotted the panel's work. Well, we made these 2 points at every step of the way. You need to be driven by the facts. You need to have a broad, credible political representation. And Mike and I and our third colleague, John Farmer, certainly wondered, well, does our trip matter? Does it make a difference? The important point here is that there are changes underway in Armenia. There's a thought process underway in the country. And we see some results of that postdate our trip. On October 23rd, the President of Armenia signed a decree to establish a fact-finding group of experts to investigate the events of March 1st, 2nd. This fact-finding group, as originally proposed by the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, will include the participation of all political elements, including the political opposition, the Ter-Petrosian supporters. It will also have the ability to draw on professional investigative expertise. According to Chairman Nikoyan of the Parliamentary Commission, this fact-finding group will be an essential group to his panel's own work. Well, I don't want to state more than I know, and this story is still unwritten. We do not know where it will end up. The fact-finding group is met for a first time. It's just beginning its work. The obstacles are many in the Armenian context, as Dr. Kachikian has outlined. And we also told, from our side, we told our Armenian interlocutors about some of the problems we faced during the life of the 9/11 Commission. Many obstacles in getting access to documents and witnesses. And we also told our Armenian friends about the critics who blasted the 9/11 Commission from every direction. They said that the Commission was too hard, or was it too soft on President Bush, or was it too hard, or was it too soft on President Clinton? In fact, if you have a fact-driven investigation, you're going to be the target of tar from every direction. And Chairman Nikoyan told us he took courage from our experience. He felt exactly as we did at that time. He was getting criticism from every direction. And that's a good thing. That means you're doing your job. And he told us, and he told the public audience, that thanks to our work, he didn't feel so alone anymore. But as I said, this story is still unwritten. The challenge before him and his colleagues in Parliament, in fact, the challenge before all Armenians, is to build trust across